These are the inner blocks that keep your personal power from waking up. Notice them without judging against yourself. We all have limiting beliefs. Once you have seen a limitation, firmly announce to yourself that you want this limitation to be transformed. Ask the universe to help you tap into the flow of your inner strength and watch your life transform. Namaste.
First at 6, a new chapter for an iconic part of the St. Louis skyline. The Millennium Hotel Tower will soon come down. This new time lapse shows how fast we are moving toward revitalization of the riverfront. Good evening, I'm Corey Stark. Tonight, new pages are quickly being written on the demise of the Millennium and the rise of St. Louis's future. While promising development is happening, some leaders say it is time for St. Louisans to listen and look ahead and not be doubtful. First Alert 4's Nathan Vickers explains how the demolition is a vision into new growth.
From Ballpark Village,
it was sad to see, but a good thing to see.
Visiting fans can see the pile of rubble forming around the former Millennium Hotel.
There's a lot of demolition stuff, so I even said something to my dad. I was like, I wonder what's going on there, why they're doing that.
I think it's the beginning of what should be happening down here so that we can bring more businesses in.
Demolition on the long-abandoned property is entering a new phase, taking down the tall tower from the top.
It's a milestone that is taking away something that has been a symbol of what's wrong with downtown and making it right.
Ryan McClure with the Gateway Arch Park Foundation provided an update on the demo today, clearing the way for a $670 million mixed-use project from the developers behind Ballpark Village. It's part of a larger momentum shift happening downtown and along the riverfront, with state incentives passed this month and a RAM settlement proposal that would provide a $55 million jumpstart for a number of projects.
Downtown is the place where we can bring in that additional revenue, bring in those additional people, attract long-term residents to the city to start growing our city again.
We reported earlier this week that some of those funds could be used to renovate the Port Cochere near Laclede's Landing, a new dock for riverboats and cruise ships, and other projects that would improve the visitor experience.
Many of us remember when there were at least 8 attractions on the riverfront. There are now only 2 attractions on the riverfront. It is time for that to change, and it can change.
Part of the long-term vision here is creating better connections downtown, a seamless route for visitors between Laclede's Landing, the Arch, the riverfront, and Busch Stadium.
We don't just want people coming in for the games and going home. We want them to be able to stop, stay, spend money, and enjoy our city.
While many fans remember what the tower was.
Gosh, it was beautiful on the inside, and you're just like, wow.
It was very nice. Kind of a historical place to go.
Some see its demolition as a sign of a new chapter.
There's so much good that people don't really know about, so it would be good to tell them about that.
A symbol of what downtown St. Louis could be. Nathan Vickers, First Alert 4.
All right, if you haven't already seen, in the next few weeks, demolition crews will start the process of bringing down the infamous Millennium Hotel. It's in downtown St. Louis. It's going to take a while, but as Fox 2's Max Deep-Night explains, many feel it's a sign of much-needed progress for the area.
It has been a windy road getting to this point, but soon demolition will begin on the 28-story Millennium Hotel. The hotel's main building, which was abandoned more than a decade ago, sits just steps away from the Gateway Arch National Park and Busch Stadium. It closed back in 2014 and for years was neglected by an international owner before the city threatened eminent domain and a local buyer stepped in.
This is a story of St. Louis taking control of its own destiny.
Gateway Arch Park Foundation Executive Director Ryan McClure says the decision to purchase the property was an easy one for this nonprofit, which serves as the official philanthropic partner of the Gateway Arch National Park. The group has a plan to turn that land into a thriving hub where people can live, work, and easily access the park. As you can see, demolition has already begun on other parts of the property.
Our job is to care for the Arch for generations to come. And when you have an abandoned hotel that takes up 2 city blocks right next to the Arch, we can't have that. Our city deserves better, and that's why we're doing this.
But the same progress cannot be seen at a larger and even more historic site not far away. The old Railway Exchange building on Locust Street still sits empty. Last year, the city acquired the building's garage through eminent domain. A spokesperson for the St. Louis Development Corporation tells me they hope to knock that down later this year. As for the large building itself, though, a judge ruled the city can also take it over through eminent domain, but SLDC spokesperson says they're still working to find the money to do that. Back over at the Millennium, change is in progress. McClure says he expects demolition to begin in May of the North Tower and be completed by the end of next year.
It is truly a story of taking control of our own destiny as St. Louisans to do what's right for downtown and for the region.
Reporting in St. Louis, Max Dieknight, Fox 2 News.
Sat silent next to the Gateway Arch, like a ghost nobody wanted to talk about. Every day, people drove past it, wondering how something so close to our city's heart could be left behind. But on November 13th, the first blows of demolition finally came, and with it, a chance for something new. When it opened in 1969, people didn't call it the Millennium. They called it the Stouffer's Riverfront Inn that rose above downtown with the confidence only a booming Midwest city could have. Designed by New York architect William B. Tabler, it stood as a symbol that St. Louis still mattered. And on top of that round tower was a revolving restaurant that made a full spin every hour and 20 minutes, more than 300 feet above the river. Only 5 like it existed in the whole country. This was where families celebrated anniversaries, where conventions brought thousands, where visiting ball players slept before big games. For decades, this was St. Louis's hotel. But time hits cities the same way it hits people, slowly, quietly, and then all at once. The Riverfront Inn aged, and the owners didn't keep up. While other hotels modernized, this one stayed stuck in another era. In 1999, Millennium Hotels and Resorts bought it, but the years that followed only exposed how much work the building needed. By the late 2000s, it felt tired, forgotten, a relic of a St. Louis that was slipping away. In 2013, most of the rooms were shut down. 616 out of 780. Repairs were supposed to come, but they never did. Then in 2014, the entire complex went dark. Temporary renovations, they said. But St. Louis knows the look of something that's not coming back. Beds stayed made, menus stayed on tables, coffee pots stayed half full of dust. A place once filled with life was suddenly frozen. It has been empty ever since because someone owned it and wouldn't let it go. Developers tried to buy it. The city tried to push for change. But the price, the repairs, the red tape, it all kept the building locked in place. Fixing it would have cost more than $100 million, and without enough legal leverage, the city couldn't force anything. So year after year, it just stood there, empty, decaying, right next to one of the most iconic structures in the whole world. A reminder of what St. Louis used to be, and what it was afraid it might become again. With the power off and the windows cracked, nature moved in. Water leaked through the ceilings, mold crawled up the walls, people broke in at night. What used to be a hotel slowly turned into a hollow warning. This is what happens when a city lets something die. But in 2025, the story took a turn. The Gateway Arch Park Foundation stepped in and bought the whole property, and teamed up with the Cordish companies, the same group that helped revive Ballpark Village. For the first time in over a decade, the building had a future, and that meant its days were numbered. And now where this empty shell once stood, a new district is planned, something St. Louis hasn't seen in generations. A $670 million redevelopment that brings housing, offices, food, art, and green space, all to one place. Here's what's coming. A 41-story residential tower with 600 new homes looking straight at the arch. A 10-story Class A office building, a huge food hall and restaurant district. Public plazas that flow into the arch grounds like they were always meant to be connected. A green amphitheater and space set aside for the archives of Gateway Arch National Park. This isn't a replacement, it's a rebirth. As the Millennium Hotel disappears, it reminds us how fast the city changes and how easily we overlook the landmarks that shape our lives. The building may be gone, but the memories St. Louisans made around it will last a lifetime.
They are starting with the Central Building and then the South Tower and finally the North Tower. The former Millennium Hotel being demolished in phases. Fox News' Patrick Clark gives us a timeline and how a change is coming to the downtown skyline.
Part of the iconic St. Louis skyline will be undergoing a change as demolition has begun here at the Millennium Hotel.
The team at Spiritus Wrecking Company has been doing an amazing job over there. They've spent the time since we closed on the property in July doing abatement, so removing asbestos and mold and mercury with their subcontractors. So we've not wasted any time. We've been moving.
Change is inevitable. It happens bit by bit, or piece by piece, as is the case for the Millennium Hotel.
Given its proximity to the highway, to buildings within the vicinity, that's just really not possible. So what needs to happen is kind of taking it down piece by piece in a methodical way. So that schedule of like which tower comes down when is still in flux.
In September, legislation passed through the Board of Aldermen on the redevelopment plan, allowing the demo to begin. It will take 2 years to remove the former Stouffer, Clarion, and Millennium Hotel. For some, like myself, you'll never remove the memory of a dinner spent rotating clockwise with a view of the arch to Busch Stadium and back. The nonprofit is asking for St. Louisans to share their memories and photos to stories at archpark.org as part of their initiative to preserve stories of the hotel.
The redevelopment plan that was approved by the city and really reacted and designed to that. So some of the things that dictated was it has to be a skyline defining building. And that's what they've done with the residential tower and the office space that they're planning. This is going to be a site that St. Louis can be proud of and that is going to be an economic engine for the region again.
The Cordish companies are set to build a sleek-looking, taller building that will join the St. Louis skyline with a groundbreaking in a few years' time. In downtown St. Louis, Patrick Clark, Fox 2 News.
All right, St. Louis, Missouri. Today is kind of a sad one for me. There's the beautiful arch, but it's sad to me because this hotel is coming down. This was the old Clarion Hotel. As you see, they're prepping it and getting ready to bring it down. I'm not exactly sure when this hotel was built, but I know I came here for the first time in the mid-80s. My father being a steel guitar player, this was the home of the Steel Guitar Convention for many, many years. Scotty's International Steel Guitar Convention. We sure had a lot of memories here over the years. The hotel closed in January of 2014. It was a Clarion Hotel, then it became the Regal Riverfront, and then for the last several years it was a Millennium Hotel. And in January of 2014 they closed their doors. At time of taping this, it's January of 2026. And news came out right before the holidays that they were getting ready to start bringing it down. And as I'm here today, you can see it is definitely underway. They're going to be bringing it down. This used to be the old dugout bar that was right at the base of the elevators right there. So this right here was the home of the dugout. And as you can see, it is gone. Lots of memories around that pool right there. And this down here, right over that way, was the hallway to the ballrooms where they would do that International Steel Guitar Convention. And all the exhibit rooms kind of branched off of that hallway right there. And that's also where all the steel guitar players, their plaques were along that wall right there, which that whole wall is no longer even there. Our suite was always 2301, which to find it, the top window underneath the rotating restaurant was 27. So 4 down from there, that would be floor 23. And we have one of the most incredible arch views of anywhere.
There's also growing poverty, and much to the government's embarrassment, Iran's parliament has published a report saying inequality is as great now as it was during the reign of the Shah. Prices of basic goods have spiraled and subsidies have been removed. There's a chronic housing shortage in the city, with many...
The former Millennium. 2 weeks after the St. Louis Land Clearance for Redevelopment Authority tabled a discussion to designate the former Millennium Hotel a blighted property, the former St. Louis staple once again faces an uncertain future. 5 on your sides, Holden Kerwicki is live downtown with developments. Holden.
Well, and the city leaders actually tabled that discussion after receiving information that the owner of the Millennium Hotel was looking to sell. But tonight, it's not clear if that's actually the case. The hotel was listed on the website LoopNet last night, but the number of rooms and floors aren't accurate. Plus, it lists daily rates for rooms at a hotel that has been closed for a decade. I reached out to LoopNet about these inconsistencies, and a spokesperson told me they believed the listing was fake because there was no asking price or listing agent. After doing a little more digging, the representative told me the property was posted by Inner Circle Capital LLC. I checked their website and it doesn't show any listings in St. Louis, and the company has yet to return my calls. Now, the next LCRA meeting is scheduled for April 23rd, and within the last 30 minutes, Alderwoman Kara Spencer texted me and confirmed that the city would be moving forward with the blighted property process. Reporting live in downtown St. Louis, Holden Kerwicki, 5.
What's happening? I'm Jeff Corduroy, your All-American legend. I tell you, around the country, around the world, I'd give the business, I'd give the beans. I'm standing right in front of
with little to no action taking place to fix the problem. But tonight, the future of the building could soon turn around, as officials say a local group has the building under contract and are finalizing the details of that deal. Our Nathan Vickers live for us downtown following this news. And Nathan, this is exciting in itself, but what does this mean for other vacant buildings in the city of St. Louis, like the Railway Exchange building?
Well, Corey, this could mean a lot for those other buildings that are very visible if you're coming down. A good look for people visiting. Now, part of the problem has been that the owners of the Millennium Hotel aren't based in St. Louis, but that might be about to change.
A day game at Busch Stadium showcases more than baseball.
It's always great to come downtown on day game. It's very interactive. You have different restaurants.
It's like St. Louis in general. I think the stadium is really nice.
The area around the stadium is part of that experience, one that sometimes includes longtime eyesores like the Railway Exchange building or Millennium Hotel, left to fall apart by absent out-of-state owners.
I don't think it contributes positively. We have a lot more improvement that needs to be done. When buildings start getting run down, people get the impression that the area is not upkept.
Hopefully the city will.
Greater St. Louis Inc. says the Millennium Hotel now has a buyer. While details aren't public yet, he says it's a local entity.
Millennium Railway Exchange, I think they're very similar in that we need to get those in the hands of folks who really want what is best for this city.
Greater St. Louis says downtown has seen other wins over the past 4 months, too, with more than $330 million in new private investment.
These are projects that are sort of small points in space downtown, but have an impact on a lot of things that happen around them, and in fact, all of downtown and the whole metro.
It's something many visitors downtown see, too.
There's so much potential.
The hope that reactivating large properties can help spur further growth.
It's all about showing up and making sure we support our own to make sure that we do well and say, hey, this is a great place.
Well, the city has also submitted an offer on the Railway Exchange building and says if that offer is not accepted by September 20th, they could petition to use eminent domain to acquire it. Reporting live, Nathan Vickers, First Alert 4.
Well, it's been vacant a long time. The old Millennium Hotel, that tubular-shaped hotel in downtown St. Louis, and it's getting some extra attention this morning.
Yeah, that vacant building is being boarded up and more security hanging around after city officials say they're getting a lot of calls for service. Fox News' Mallory Thomas live there with the growing concerns about the old hotel. Mallory?
Good morning, guys. Well, we've definitely seen more security this morning driving around the block, around the property. And like you mentioned, as of yesterday, they have also boarded up the property. A city spokesperson tells Fox 2 they've received calls for service at the old hotel, and they've even made arrests at the vacant building. They say that the owner of the property is strengthening security as well as restoring lighting on the property. The hotel has been closed for several years, but people want to see that change. They want to see that revolving restaurant back open. Fox 2 did reach out to the owners of the building, but we did not yet hear back from them. Reporting live in St. Louis, Mallory Thomas, Fox 2 News.
City's crown jewels. It's gone by a number of names before that. The Millennium Hotel was once one of the city's crown jewels. It's gone by a number of names before that. The Regal Riverfront, the Clarion, and originally Stouffer's. It featured a restaurant that gave you a 360-degree look at the city, but hard times hit. Built in 1968, it shut down in 2014. What's your experience there?
It was a lovely experience. The restaurant up top, you know, was revolving around. I thought it was a pretty cool space.
Why has it been so difficult to get that property developed?
Well, initially, the previous owners wanted to keep the hotel option open. They didn't want to do anything with it. Then they decided that they would. They changed their mind. So it has taken a while, but we continue to work with them. And so it is one of those key properties downtown that we would like to see something done with. And so we know that now that they have changed ownership, that they have a desire to move the property.
Just having it sit here vacant, certainly not what the city wants to see for obvious reasons. One, it's in such a prominent spot near the arch in downtown. Two, there's no tax revenue in its current state. City officials can't tell me how much they've lost in taxes since it closed. They're hoping for better luck with new owners.
And so our goal is to, because it is a premier property, is to work with them to find a developer to bring us a first-class development on that site.
Are you surprised that it's been vacant so long?
Not really.
Advantage is that they have been able to keep the building watertight and keep all the systems operating on it such that it will be easier to redevelop if it's not torn down in whatever development scenario comes forth.
Are you surprised it's vacant?
Yeah, I actually walk past this building every day, and I think it's prime real estate downtown.
I did reach out to current owners, but they did not want to be a part of the story. Development Director Williams tells me it's all just a question of what's to be done with this iconic property and when.
We got our pool that we're going to go down to. It's right down there. Kind of nice. And the bridge there. Courthouse and the arch, which we're going to go to tomorrow morning.
Where's the courthouse? I can't see it.
It's straight across the street, right in front of the arch. Or that's the old courthouse. Now it's a church. Used to be courthouse. Let's see. There's the river even we can see from here. So the Cardinal game is at 6. So we're going to go down, swim a little bit, and then head over to Busch Stadium.
St. Louis is getting a makeover, and boy, are the results amazing. Talk about rehabs. All the historic landmarks are being restored, and the downtown is booming. And leading the way is one of our favorite downtown hotels, the Sheraton St. Louis City Center.
Originally built as the J.C. Penney warehouse in 1928, this 1 million square foot building is the largest hotel renovation project in Missouri's history. Located next to railroad tracks and the warehouse district, it's not only hip, but it evokes a sense of good old American history. Rob, those gorgeous murals outside are a perfect invitation to the hotel.
Aren't they? They're wonderful. They were commissioned by Richard Haas. He's a New York artist who based them off the World's Fair.
Now, just because it's historic doesn't mean it's not high-tech. It's one of the first hotels in St. Louis to offer a wireless lobby. There's a full-service business center and lots of business amenities.
We actually have 30,000 square feet of meeting space, and it's all on the top floor of our building, which is unique in itself, our largest city view.
Thank you. Thank you. Now it's easy to see why it's one of the most popular hotels in St. Louis. It's perfect for business executives and leisure travelers. It's just minutes to attractions like the St. Louis Gateway Arch, Busch Stadium and the St. Louis Cardinals, and Savvis Center, home of the St. Louis Blues.
The building, it's fabulous history, and it is close to everything you could possibly want to be near in St. Louis.
Now, as you'd expect from a hotel that used to be a warehouse, the rooms are huge. In fact, they're the largest in the city, with some over 1,100 square feet. That's bigger than my apartment. And they all feature the famous Sheraton sleeper beds and classic design. So for the best of downtown St. Louis, we highly recommend the Sheraton St. Louis City Center. It's a home run.